Chosen one, August 4th, is your divine confirmation. Listen, there are moments in life when everything shifts. Not because the world changes, but because you do. August 4th is one of those moments. A day marked in the spiritual realm. A date that carries a weight you may not fully understand yet, but your soul already recognizes it. You've been waiting for a sign, a confirmation, a clear message from beyond the noise. And here it is. Chosen one, this is your divine confirmation that everything you've sensed, everything you've hoped for, everything you've dared to believe is not only real, it's arriving. You're not imagining the pull, the signs, the repeating numbers, the subtle nudges. You are in alignment. And August 4th is the spiritual proof that you've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Before you continue, pause for a moment. Take a breath and recognize the sacredness of what's unfolding. Then go to the comments and write your deepest, most authentic wish, the one that echoes in your heart even when the world is silent. End it with 777. This isn't just a symbol, it's a spiritual key, a seal of intention, a vibration that reaches beyond the physical into the realm of energy, of purpose, of divine truth. By writing it down, you're not only claiming your desire, you're activating the current that turns unseen forces in your favor. This is how you engage the universe. This is how you show up for your destiny. Fully, openly, boldly. Now, chosen one, like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. August 4th is not about chance. It's about confirmation. Divine timing colliding with spiritual awareness. And if you're hearing this, it means the message was encoded with your name. You've been asking, is this real? Am I imagining it? Is this alignment meant for me? And today, the answer comes back, not as a whisper, but as a resounding yes. You were not misled. You were not wrong. What you felt was true. What you hoped for is near. And what you're being shown today is not for your entertainment. It's for your evolution. You may have felt a tension in your life recently, like something was pressing against you, like your world was too small for the dreams you've been carrying. That's because it was. And that pressure? It was not punishment. It was preparation. The stretching, the solitude, the silence. It all had a purpose. And that purpose is unveiling now. Piece by piece, hour by hour. As August 4th dawns, the frequency around you is shifting. The fog is clearing. And suddenly, what felt distant now feels within reach. This confirmation may not come wrapped in lightning or thunder. It may arrive gently, through a conversation, a sentence, a sudden knowing in your chest that says, yes, this is it. That's how the divine often speaks, quietly, powerfully, precisely. And when it comes, don't question it. Don't rationalize it away. Receive it. Let it land. Let it root in your being. This is not the time to doubt. This is the time to declare. The world around you may not look different today, but your spirit knows otherwise. That's because confirmation always arrives before manifestation. It's the spiritual receipt of what's about to show up in the physical. So even if the door hasn't opened yet, walk like it has. Even if the email hasn't come, the opportunity hasn't arrived, the shift hasn't materialized, believe like it's already here. Because in the spirit, it is. This is your call to alignment, to elevate your mindset, to match the frequency of the breakthrough that's been tracking you for months, maybe even years. You don't need more evidence. You need more faith. The reason you're hearing this message now is because your timeline has caught up to your truth. August 4th is the date heaven chose to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Yes, it's time." It may feel surreal, as if something unseen is watching, orchestrating, guiding. And you're right. You've never been alone in this. The silence you experienced wasn't absence. It was sacred instruction. And now, as the signs begin to align, you'll notice how fast things move when it's finally time. That's the power of divine confirmation. It doesn't just tell you something. It releases everything. Doors you couldn't open before will unlock without effort. Conversations you've been waiting to have will flow with ease. People you thought forgot you will suddenly reappear. But not because of luck, because of alignment, because you're no longer begging for validation. You've been given divine confirmation. That's a different frequency, and the universe responds accordingly. This is where you must shift. No more hesitation, no more shrinking, no more pretending you're not ready when your spirit is screaming that you are. This is your moment to walk like someone who knows. Not hopes, not guesses, knows. Because when the divine speaks, it doesn't speak to impress. It speaks to awaken. And chosen one, you are now fully awake. Confirmation changes everything. It doesn't just calm your mind, it energizes your soul. It turns every maybe into move now. It clears away the doubt like sunlight burning through fog. On August 4th, you're not just getting a message, you're receiving clearance. Clearance to go forward, to release what was, to rise into what is. This isn't about wishing anymore. It's about walking. You've been given evidence in the spirit, and now your steps must match your knowing. One of the most important things to understand in this moment is that confirmation doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's lonely. Not because you're off track, but because you're ahead of the curve. Others may not see what you see yet. They're still living by what they can touch and measure. But you're living by what you feel, by what you sense, by what your spirit knows. Don't try to explain your timing to people who haven't received the message you have. They weren't meant to understand it. You were. You'll begin to notice how your perception sharpens now. Conversations will shift. The way you see people will change. You'll hear things others miss, see things they can't. That's the clarity confirmation brings. It's not arrogance, it's awakening. You're not looking for signs anymore. You are the sign. You carry the evidence. You radiate the alignment. You're no longer hoping the universe will send you something. You've realized you were what the universe was preparing to send into the world all along. August 4th is not just a mark on a calendar. It's the breaking of a seal. It's the fulfillment of a spiritual appointment you didn't even know you scheduled. But now that it's here, everything else begins to shift with it. People you were aligned with in old seasons may begin to fall away, not because of bitterness, but because of misalignment. That's what divine confirmation does. It filters your surroundings. It separates noise from truth. It closes doors you were too afraid to close on your own. This is the part where many feel afraid, because confirmation brings clarity, and clarity brings responsibility. Once you know, you can't pretend not to. Once you see, you can't unsee. The days of second-guessing yourself are over. That voice in your spirit, the one you used to silence with logic and fear, is now louder than ever. That's divine confirmation. It doesn't just give you permission, it gives you command. A holy nudge to take up space without apology. Don't be surprised if you suddenly feel the urge to purge, to clean, to delete, to block, to withdraw. That's your spirit responding to the shift. You're no longer tolerating what used to drain you, not because you're angry, but because you're aligned. The things you were once willing to carry now feel heavy, toxic, out of place. Let them go, without guilt, without drama. Let them go as a declaration that you believe what the divine has shown you. Confirmation isn't just about receiving, it's about releasing. You're not just being told what's coming, you're being prepared to hold it. And in order to hold it, you must have room. That means clearing space, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Declutter your world so the divine has room to move. Miracles don't show up in clutter. They arrive where there's expectancy and readiness. This new version of you, confirmed, clear, elevated, will confuse people who only knew the old you. They'll ask when you changed. They'll wonder why you seem so sure now. Let them wonder. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your awakening. You don't need to water down your confirmation to keep others comfortable. Your spirit has already validated your direction. That's enough. You may also find that time feels different now, like things are accelerating, conversations happening quicker, opportunities arriving faster. That's because confirmation activates divine speed. You spent so long waiting. Now things are moving. Don't resist the momentum. Ride it. Trust that if something is coming at you fast, it's because you're finally aligned with the speed of your own destiny. You're no longer out of sync. You're in divine flow. And divine flow doesn't ask permission. It moves. Boldly, quietly, precisely. You are being asked to match that rhythm, to walk in the room like it's already yours, to speak with the confidence of someone who's already seen the outcome, to decide, not debate. This is what confirmation requires, action rooted in faith, not fear. There is something sacred about the moment when your spirit says, "This is it." That quiet certainty is more powerful than any external validation. And now that inner voice is growing louder, not because anything around you changed, but because you finally stopped doubting the truth you already knew. This is your divine confirmation, and the more you trust it, the more you will see it reflected everywhere, through people, through moments, through sudden opportunities that feel like they were waiting for you to catch up. August 4th isn't random. It's alignment. It's a marker in the unseen calendar of heaven. It's the moment when the fog lifts and the road ahead becomes visible. Not because it suddenly appeared, but because you finally opened your eyes. The road was always there. Your readiness revealed it. And now that you've seen it, there's no turning back. You're not returning to confusion. You're not revisiting doubt. You're walking forward with a sense of clarity that cannot be faked. This confirmation might not come with fireworks or loud signs. It might come in a whisper, in a breath, in a dream that won't let go of you. That's the beauty of divine things. They're often subtle but undeniable. They don't force you to believe. They invite you to. And when you do, the moment you say yes to what your spirit already knows, the world begins to shift in your favor. And when it does, expect friction. Confirmation is a spiritual light, and light attracts both curiosity and resistance. Some people will suddenly feel uncomfortable around you. Not because you've changed, but because they can't access the clarity you now walk in. Don't dim yourself to ease their confusion. Let your clarity shine. Let it become a lighthouse. You weren't confirmed just for yourself. You were confirmed so others could be awakened through your example. You'll also begin to see your past differently, not as a chain, but as a classroom. Everything you walked through, every heartbreak, delay, disappointment, was shaping your ears to hear this moment more clearly. It's as if every past no was preparing you to recognize this divine yes. That's why it feels different now. That's why the weight of this season carries authority. You're no longer guessing. You're guided. And that guidance? It comes with responsibility. Confirmation doesn't mean everything gets easier. It means everything becomes clearer. You know which doors to stop knocking on. You know which people no longer deserve explanations. You know which habits can no longer travel with you. That's not pressure. That's freedom. Freedom to focus. Freedom to rise. Freedom to say no without guilt and yes without fear. You'll begin to receive what you once had to chase. That's how divine confirmation works. It reorders the flow. It turns struggle into magnetism, effort into grace. You're stepping into a time where the right things will begin to find you, not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally in place. That's the power of spiritual alignment. It draws what belongs to you without needing to scream for it. You'll also feel called to take action, but not just any action, precise action. You'll feel the urge to move, to write, to build, to speak, to step. Don't delay. The energy behind confirmation is momentum. It wants to move through you. It wants to use you. It's not enough to be aware. You must be available. Available to be used, to be stretched, to be poured out. That's how the confirmation multiplies. August 4th may pass for others like any other day. But for you, it's a pivot point. It's a moment when time bends around purpose. And if you're paying attention, you'll begin to notice small miracles stacking up. They won't all be flashy. Some will be as quiet as peace returning to your chest after years of chaos. Some will be as gentle as realizing you no longer crave the approval that once controlled you. And some will be explosive, undeniable, world-shifting. But no matter the form, they all carry the same message. You were right to believe. You were right to hold on. You were right to keep listening when everything told you to give up. That quiet persistence, that subtle faith, that's what this confirmation is rewarding. Not your perfection, your alignment, your willingness to walk blind until the light appeared. And now the light is here. Once you've received divine confirmation, the world feels different. Not because it changes overnight, but because your lens does. You walk into the same places, talk to the same people, live inside the same routines, yet everything feels sharper, clearer, quieter, because now you're not searching, you're walking in revelation. The unknown no longer frightens you. The future no longer intimidates you. You've crossed into a realm where you don't need to see the entire picture to believe in what's coming. This is where you shift from reaction to response. You no longer panic when things shift suddenly, because your soul knows the bigger pattern. Confirmation teaches you that closed doors are protection, not punishment. That silence is a setup, not a setback. That delay is refinement, not rejection. When others ask, "Why are you so calm?" you won't always have the words, but your peace will be the answer. Don't be surprised if new ideas begin pouring into your mind. Visions, dreams, strategies you didn't expect. That's a direct effect of confirmation, mental clarity. The clutter is gone. The old narratives have broken. You're no longer trying to convince yourself to believe. You already do. And belief becomes a gateway for creativity. You'll see possibilities in places that used to look like dead ends, and that's not random. That's the divine speaking through inspiration. You'll also notice a desire to move differently, to speak differently, to carry yourself with a weight that wasn't there before. Not arrogance, but authority. When you're walking with confirmation, you don't chase people. You don't explain your path to everyone. You don't plead for understanding. You move with grace, but you move with certainty. Because when heaven has said yes, you don't need permission from earth. Relationships will shift. Some will deepen, others will dissolve, and both are answers. Confirmation exposes what's real and what was convenient. It reveals who's aligned with your next and who was attached to your old. Don't grieve the exits, honor them. They were part of the journey, but they can't enter the new chapter. Elevation comes with spiritual altitude, and not everyone has the lungs for it. This is a good time to reflect on the journey, to remember the nights you questioned everything, the days when nothing made sense, the quiet moments when your only hope was a whisper in the dark. You're not there anymore. You've crossed over. You didn't just survive, you transformed. And that transformation is the foundation of your future. It's what gives you the capacity to hold what's coming next. You'll begin to attract people who recognize your light, not because you're trying to impress, but because alignment is magnetic. You won't need to network in the traditional sense. Divine connections will find you. The right people will show up. The right opportunities will align. That's what confirmation does. It puts you in the same frequency as your destiny, and everything that belongs to you will feel the pull. This is where consistency becomes critical. You can't afford to drift back into doubt. You can't start negotiating with fear. You've already been shown too much. You've already been given the green light. Now, your discipline must match your revelation. The path won't always be easy, but it will always be aligned. That means your job is to keep showing up, to keep believing, to keep speaking life even when no one else does. Because the truth is, confirmation isn't the finish line. It's the starting gate. It's the spark before the wildfire, the whisper before the roar. And how you respond to this moment determines how quickly your reality catches up to your revelation. You have to meet the divine halfway, with faith, with action, with posture. You can't just hope anymore. You have to move like you already have it. That's the energy August 4 carries. It doesn't wait. It marks you. It shifts your atmosphere and calls you into alignment that won't bend to fear. This isn't just confirmation. It's your moment to rise and never shrink again.